Hello, Wild Wisdom Warriors. Hello, YouTube. Hello, my dear family of shamans from around the world. It's so great to see all of you here today. Today, of course, is May 26, 2020. And this is my journal. This is Lily Colosilva. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today's topic, you guys, I wanted to get in and sort of this would be a part 3 to the possession, unmasking demonic possession or unmasking entity possession in human beings. And I know that I've talked about some of the entity possession and some of the things that happen with adults. And then I said that I will go back into why it is so essential for us as shamans today to unmask this crime against human consciousness. Because ultimately, when we are unmasking demonic possession, we're unmasking crime against human consciousness. And so when it comes to children, and demonic possession in children and how that happens and how that operates, it's going to be a whole different kind of thing that I want to approach from this perspective, being in equilibrium. Because this is what we're doing. We're now so this is why, in a way, before going and talking about demonic possession and unmasking demonic possession and how that takes place, and especially in innocent children, and the narcissistic abuse and what that has to do with this contract with demons or demonic world and all of that stuff. So it's a very deep subject, because this is where the root of the crime is in this reality. As I've talked about, that I am a human consciousness investigator, and so there is a crime that's been committed against human consciousness. And this is this entity possessions, whatever you want to call it, but there's quite a bit of information on that. So my journals are not sort of about, what are what are jinn, what are demon, what are entities. There is sort of, those are just different sort of cultural and tribal views. What I want to focus on is looking at this demonic possession or archonic possession, as you guys wanted to say, because in the past I said this is the sub archons or the entities, okay, that operate, that invaded the reality. And so so basically what I want to focus on today in closing this sort of mini series on possession and unmasking possession and how it relates to things in psychology and, narcissistic abuse and all of that stuff. Because as you start digging from that side, you'll also find that all roads lead to the same place, which is parasitic consciousness invasion. So, but before I go on into that very difficult subject of the actual crime, okay, I want to talk about, and like last time, I talked about the bing, bang, and boom formula and how to apply it when you're a shaman to unmask a possessed individual. Okay. And then in there, I mentioned, because to lack of time, I mentioned a little bit about how you can expel demons and all of that stuff and entities, and how it is actually has to be an individual will. And that's, I kind of wanted to, and maybe in the future I will talk about exorcism and why it is so important for a human being to take charge of that, and only human being can fully disconnect themselves from this draconian law. Because by this draconian law, and this is what religion plays by, and this is how the devil had fooled the people, and through religion, because that's the draconian law that's put in place. So that's when I say, when people that have built their religion on the foundation, on demonic foundation, then gonna tell you and come and say that, we're gonna take the demons out. Nothing happening is that demons are having fun when the demonic exorcism happens through the religious belief structure. But I don't want to look into that, because what I want to talk about is the foundation. Like I said last time, I want to make sure that you guys understand where the true shaman or the true divine human being stands on, and that wellness platform, or the foundation of wellness in this reality. And so this is why I today sort of titled my conversation is Beyond Possession. Because what is beyond possession? When you truly, really explore what possession is, and that illusionary beliefs, structures that it takes for it to even exist within a collective human consciousness. And then also, then in that, you can look at yourself, and this is the key. Without knowing the self, you cannot be in control of this reality. You cannot be in it, being your it's not your reality. And so this is possession, is basically is when there is some sort of non-human entity, or a demon, or whichever you want to call it, or subarchons, or any other entity besides the divine human soul, which is the living expression of that quantum quintessence, right? It is that fifth element. Okay, it's someone who operates on the fifth element, is that star, or meaning that force, or living expression of divine human being, meaning creator God in human form, like I talked about in the past. And this is that quintessence, right? And so this is the true self. And this is then operating on this fifth element, is this gnosis of the self, if you want to approach it from a Gnostic's perspective, right? So today, beyond possession is when you stand or operate, or when you are in this sort of, when you're a divine human being, when you've accepted, or you recognize, like I like to say, that you belong to eternity. And that's the moment of recognition. And that's the moment of knowing, or moment of gnosis, like Gnostics have been talking about. That's the gnosis that rises from within, because that's the eternity is within, as the true Jesus teachings are all about. That when you look beyond manipulation in the Bible, then you'll know the true teachings. Or just like it says in the Bible, that the Bible is encoded, and the Antichrist is also right there, hidden. Everything is right in front of you. So and here, this is that sort of undescribable power, or force, or a living force of the universe, or I've in the past referred to the quantum field of existence or reality. But it goes even beyond. So beyond possession is a living human being who is standing in its own eternity. Okay. And so then, and this is what I say, and this is how you truly, so this is why when you are a true shaman, and you truly yourself stand on this platform, on this foundation of wellness, of the Holy Trinity incarnated, and you are the Christ incarnated. If you want to call it that way. I mean, a lot of fake Christians out there are going to say, oh, Lily, you can't call yourself Christian. Excusez-moi. Headless chickens that calling themselves Christians have no clue, or they didn't read. The temple of God is within. What's going on, Christians? Hello? Okay, you guys. So anyway, so that's what it is. You are that expression. You are it. You are, to the degree, like I used to say, to the degree that you accept that eternity within is to the degree that you operate. And then you cannot be possessed to the degree that you accept your eternity. So if you fully accepted your eternity, and this is how you free yourself through that pressure point, and this is what I've talked. Okay, I need some water. Okay, you guys. So, oh my Lord, there is already so much talking going on. Hello, Ramos, Amy, Danielle, Angela, Anna, hello, Bella, Diane, oh, hi, darling, Kimberly, hi, Miles, hello, Sunshine, you're here, hello, hey, Amy, I said hi, okay. All right, you guys. So today, my virgin mimosa with tonic water, and this is a very sweet little oranges. So sweet, yummy. All right, so this is actually explodes a lot. So exploded. Okay, now it's all wet. All right, so here's my virgin mimosa. Oh, thank you, darling. Okay, so here's to you, all my shamans. Thank you so much for joining me. So let's finish up on this and let's go beyond possession because, like I said, hi, Jose. You know, when you're true shamans, you know, and this is why you can see, and then you know, when you develop your own way, how you then unmask possession, be it whichever the way you want to do, archonic energy, collective entity possession. It is definitely a collective entity, as I talked to you about when we're talking about archons and archonic and looking from Gnostics perspective. This is what you kind of will understand, that this is a collective entity possession, and so that's why there's so many sort of identifying behaviors of this possession, then you can truly see. And this is why I told you, when you look at narcissists and the spectrum of possession, and the narcissistic abuse is then the fruits of that possession, is the abuse. And this is why I say why the religion is structured in the way, the draconian law, because religion is draconian law. Okay, there is no freedom there. Okay, because no matter how you look at it, there's always, if there is a religious structure that it takes for a spirituality to be, for you to be free spiritually, and it takes some sort of religion or religious belief or religious structure, or takes anything beyond believing in your own God self, anything, that's invasion. It just has no place in freedom of expression of you being the Son of God, like Jesus told everybody, you're all children of God. Okay, because quintessence, the fifth element, okay, it's that what makes things manifest, meaning is that element that that sort of manifests into this world. And so this is the life force, and a lot of people might call it chi. In East they call it chi, right? And all, there's so many different names for it. So, and this is when I said, this is your armor. You accepting yourself as this divine human being in the presence of this fifth element, manifestation of this element in physical form. When you accept that, and this is when I say, then you accept your body here as a vehicle of expression of your spirit. Okay. And this is what I mean to be spiritual, right? To understand spirit world is to understand that I am that element. I am that. I am in I am encompassing spirit of it all. It's very difficult for our mind to comprehend that. How can my little body here encompass spirit of it all? And this is the paradox, because I'm so little, right? But yet that's what it means to be that son of God. Okay, that individual who's accepted that their cross, sort of, I mean, their existence in this reality that is a paradoxical called dual reality. And so possession is a very difficult thing, but the thing is that right now, with so much, like I said, with so much research on narcissism, that we can put words to certain patterns, and like I said, and then by those we can see and then recognize the entities, and just without, and you don't need to go and do your sort of dance around the fire, and to like shamans did on tribal thing, is to connect, to connect to each individual, what entity possesses them. Because in one form or another, this entity is sort of, it's an authority entity, but it's an authority over individual, because in each individual is a power force within itself. And so that's why that applies sort of to all, because it's a collective entity again. And so this is why I talked about this collective entity. And so and that's why I say I do not do exorcism because that's invasion. Okay. And so, because we have to understand what happens is ultimately, and this is why I approached it from this spiritual perspective, and show you a lot of, and demonstrate it for you, and give you a lot of examples to go and look at how it is done with this malignant narcissists that are leaders in spiritual communities, and how spiritual community is invaded completely and infested with possessed individuals. And so, and as I said, for us on a collective level, and so their thing is dumb and numb will say, we're waiting for a third city to oblivion. We're gonna ascend. We're gonna ascend into oblivion because we're divine human beings. Like I said, right? What they're gonna do? They're gonna say, they're gonna ascend illusion, delusion, right? It needs to be there because a lot of people don't understand why possessed people have so much, have to project their illusions on others, and why it is always cultish. when it comes to spiritual control, why it is always has to be to where you have to sacrifice your individual power into a group think. Very important because it's all part of the possession process. And just because this is what you guys I've been investigating, and as I revealed a little bit in the past, that this ability to identify the spiritual possession, it came to me because and happened to me when I was 5 years old, when I was originally, it was my first near-death experience. And this is when I came back with some sort of a little bit altered sort of view on the spiritual possession, because because as I died, I saw that entity that actually controlled the human being that did me harm. Okay, so as and I think that whole experience now, all this time later, that whole experience for me, I know now why I had to see it. So it can never hide from me in this reality ever again. None of the demons could ever hide from me again. When I came back from that, and I truly, in that state, I had studied that entity, and all of that stuff, and and so and then I've had, after that, I have had all this time, I had like 45 more years to study that entity. Okay. And so, and this is why I talk about why I've investigated the crime of the abuse of innocence, and why the killing and the murder, why it requires murder and all of that stuff. So there is a lot more to it, but I want to keep this sort of encoded. Okay, you guys, because otherwise, you know what's going to happen to my channel. Okay, so I have to keep it on this sort of very light, in light form. I can't present this in drastic and real form to you, and I won't, and for a couple of reasons, because this is public. And so, and then this is public, but yet it is not to use this, as most of the people that are spreading infection are using this information about children. They're all using the gruesomeness of it to harvest emotions. And in here, what I want to do is I want to empower shamans to unmask the possession. So what do you guys think the demons are going to do about my videos? Are they going to like it? Demons ain't going to like it. That I am talking about recognizing yourself beyond possession. Knowing yourself beyond possession. And all of that divine idiots out there that speak of knowing spiritual, knowing occult, knowing how to wield power of creation. They claim they know, but they cry. But they cry. And so this is ultimately why I'm approaching this sort of from this perspective, because I want to empower this sort of individuals that are standing in their true self, and individuals that know that they belong to eternity, So those individuals, so imagine that when you, okay, and look at all of those spiritual people or the spiritual leaders out there in alternative media, all of those that claim to know how, where humanity goes. And then like we talk about, and yet what do they do? Each and every one of them had their eyes closed and their mouth is shut to the fact that 1,000 children a day, and that's only in America, and that's a very low number. That's only in America. 1,000 children a day disappearing. And the ones that claim that humanity has to ascend to be deserving of positive reality, see, all operate under draconian law. That's what narcissistic abuse is. That's the effect of draconian law that all the society across this world have submitted to. Because everywhere there is a religion of one sort or another that stands as authority. Okay? And now all these little slaves of that same authority are running around wearing all these different masks, different religions, different teachings, different that, but each and every one of them submitting you to authority and invading your individual power so you give it away. That's the devil's work. Doing the devil's work out there. Doing the devil's work. 99% of those that claim that they want for humanity to be better, but what they did, they closed their eyes, they closed their mouth, they closed their ears to 1,000 children a day. They're going to say, oh, we're going to ascend to Mars. And who's going to stand up for the children? Oh, we're going to stand up for the children after we ascend to Mars, huh? Laura Eisenhower. While your grandfather signed away thousands, if not millions by now, millions of innocent children's lives away. But what she wants to talk to you guys about, ascending to freaking Mars and talking about hybrids with aliens. There are demons, not aliens. They hybridizing human DNA so they can steal it. And you being possessed by that spiritual entity that her grandfather told Americans about it, spiritual invasion. And that spiritual invasion is going to tell humanity while we stealing and making adrenochrome from all these children, 1,000 children a day in America. Laura Eisenhower is going to go and talk about how we're going to ascend. And it was false light and it was a fourth ascension. Now I know, it was a false. I didn't know it was a false ascension. Now I know it's a correct ascension now. She's acting like she's retarded. What? This is an entity possessing. She is not in her body. There is nobody home. This is what happens when children get seeded with entities. This is what happens. This is why I bring her up to you guys. So this is going to be an example why. Because when that abuse happens before 7 years old, the split happens. and the entity fully takes over, and there is nobody home anymore. That's the crime. She's the victim of this crime. Okay? That's why she's acting like she's retarded. She believes we're going to also to Mars. I mean, the individual is mentally ill. And the mentally ill, what do they get? They get paraded. And the ones that are infected, invaded, and fully operating through the entity is running them. Okay? It's a non-human entity. That's why non-human entity is talking about Mars. Because it's a non-human entity. Because the human within her should know that the children are disappearing into nowhere, into oblivion. But we should all wait for ascension. We shouldn't worry about that at all. But this is what I'm showing you, an extreme possession, completely controlled by entity. And this is what happens. And this is the other thing is I also observe you guys throughout my childhood. After, like I said, after that 5 years old, I now, and then what I was able to see, in Pentecostal church, how they see with that, what they call it, Holy Spirit. It's an entity possession. And so I've studied those entities and how they operate. And again, like in my case, they would try to possess you before you're 12. So you submit to that entity authority, and then it drives you. And this is what then creates this sort of structure and belief that kind of unifies and puts it under umbrella, this Holy Spirit. And usually with that in that church, like in Pentecostals, this is what they because it's in DNA, okay, because it's in the body consciousness, the old Aramaic language. So whatever left over for that, from that genetic sort of dust, and this is what that Holy Spirit then manifests in which way, then they start babbling. They're babbling in this Aramaic language. And so what happens with this then, so this possession, so now, and this is what I've experienced, is then, and then how that entity then controls. When they're babbling like that, that's meaning that the entity fully now even speaks through them. It completely took over, the parasite took over the mind. And this is when, in this case, in an extreme case, like I told you guys a story about my sister and how she allowed the abuse of her child to go on because when the abuse was happening in front of her eyes, like when her husband, a narcissist, a malignant, no, he's actually a psychopath, you guys, because he loves inflicting pain on children, because I'll tell you what he did. So this is what I watched. Her husband noticed that her 1-year-old child, and we lived in Soviet Union on that time, he saw that the kid, and we didn't have diapers on that time. There was no diapers. So the children would, we would teach the children to go to the bathroom a lot faster, and he was just 1 year old. But he pooped in his pants. So her husband and the father of the child takes a 1-year-old and treats him like a dog and puts his face, a little boy face, into the poop and tells him not to ever poop into his pants. And this is what my possessed sister with this Holy Spirit speaking in tongues does. She doesn't go and does something to protect her child. She doesn't do that. She drops to her knees and she starts babbling. And that's all she can do. There's nobody home to stand up for that innocent 1-year-old. She wasn't there. Entities fully controlling. And this is what some of these malignant entities then from this old world, which are dead entities, this is how they want that innocence. They want it in the form of abuse. And this is why I'm talking about this. This is why I'm putting this out there, that I've seen it with my own eyes. And what it's after, it's not after my sister. She's long gone. It is now an entity, a predator that lives among us. This is what possession does to people. And then there's all of those that are, and this is why when the entity possesses someone, and this is why this collective entity immediately has to bring everybody on that same level. Everybody has to be possessed because everybody has to have that belief structure. Because in her head, in my sister's head, this is where when she's babbling, she's safe from taking responsibility for her innocent child. It takes everything that mother supposed to do, it takes it away. It destroys it and it replaces it with this babbling and this constant. It's a pit into oblivion, a dark pit into oblivion. Because when you watch somebody have no capability to stand up for their child, to protect their child, what to do. And then, so this is the thing. When you're a true shaman, you see what's happening here. You see what's happening here. So when you're truly standing in the eternity, when you know you belong to eternity, then you'll know. So if I was the mother and some asshole did anything of that sort to my child, imagine how much eternity would I pull from here. I would do as much as each time it takes me. Every time, you guys, I told you I've been attacked multiple times. People tried to kill me, choke me to death. But I trust the eternity. And no matter how many people, what's going on, I still stand today here. Because, see, this is where the power is. The demons have no access. Do you guys know that ever since I was 5 years old, I've been calling those demons out? And this is what true shamans do. This is the bang. Without bang, you are that vehicle here, but you don't have. You like a bell without the thing. You can't ring. You can't ring your truth. So what sick individuals like that do? They tell you, oh, don't look at the truth of your reality here. because you're empty. This is what possessed people are. They have nothing. They have nothing of their own. There is no self. There's nothing. There's no foundation. And this is why I talk about, you want to know what power is? You want to know what God is? You want to know what truth is? Stand in your eternity and look at the reality. Or you can go and run from demons. Laura Eisenhower, go run from demons. To Mars already. All of you, shameless out there. They're sick, you guys. They're sick. Okay, so I wanted to show you here. Okay. And this is, you guys find this, okay? Find this, the Testament of Solomon, and read it. And read it. For those of you that biblical and all of that stuff, right now is a perfect time. You will understand this more than ever before, what it means and how to, we have to stand up. Okay, so we have to step beyond the possession. So when I talk about all of these possessed people threatening me in one form or another, my thoughts, okay, Jerry, you said my thoughts on light language. That's the same thing. And this is why when I went on truth, honor, and integrity, or the lack of truth and lack of honor and lack of integrity show with Thomas Williams, my spirit guided me on his show to immediately talk about. So after that, light language people came on, and it's a much deeper, Jerry, rabbit hole with there, because some of those light language speakers are they're neither male or female. Okay, and this has to do with, remember that satanic network and how they the gender thing, how they need to combine gender for certain entities to manifest, and they think that they're babbling because they're possessed by a same entity, because it's an entity that wants to take over, but it's like I talk about when it's twin flame structure, but it's in one body. And so it's like bonded from each side and you can't get out. Okay. It's extremely it's extreme form of abuse that's happening here on the physical level. And that has to do with because they wanted to bring back that Babylonian bloodline back, which is vampiric. They require blood. Okay, the Nephilim. Okay, they require blood. So for them to raise them up from the dead, right, they have to do, and this is why, again, this is all part of the Eisenhower betrayal. This is what part of that spiritual invasion is genetic experimenting on this type of things and creating this type of human being that this entity can then fully possess, okay, and fully control. Okay, and so this is basically what that light language is. And the reason why they call it light language, because see, when you really look at it, when you're a true living human being, you'll understand you are light. So your language or your word, it comes from your eternal beingness. It's trusting into that word, into your eternity. So like you said, you'll have that power coming through you. See, for them, it requires babbling to think that it's light, because to that entity, it's the entity of darkness. So the only light it experiences, what is real light. So when a human being babbles in that thing, the parasite is experiencing speaking. It's like a really mentally ill, half human, half animal sort of creature that they want to create, so then it can experience reality. But like I said, they can't, because like it said in Revelations, it's all going to go space dust. It's just, so the late language is the same thing as Pentecostals talk. It's the same thing, because it's old Aramaic. I study it, and when I heard it, and then I'm like, oh, the scum. They gonna now, since the Pentecostals are like an old news, so they gonna bring this as light language in the Universal Council. Oh my God, it's like they are not creative at all, you know. They just switch words around and they think it's going to sound different. But it's because they're so desperate to stay relevant. See, why would you need to babble to be a moral human being? And when you see that somebody's abusing a child, then you can stand up for it, that you have enough conscience, God-given conscience to you, to do the right thing. Why do you need to babble in a language you don't understand, that is confusing you? But they need to babble. It's not them. It's the possession is so extreme that it now experiences the reality, and not the human soul. And this is what I say, when quintessence is when it's your soul. It's your soul in expression. It's that manifesting power that's here. It's that soul in expression, and through this body, because the body has the capability of activating again that the blood codes or DNA codes. So anyway, so this is what, so when you truly are that, then you are beyond possession yourself, and now you are capable of expelling demons. You have the power of Solomon. Your power has returned. And here, if you read the Testament, you'll know how to return the power. Okay, you guys, you have some questions. Oh my God, it's 48 minutes. Okay, so returning the power, right? So that's beyond, when you return your power, you step into beyond any form of possession, because you'll see these demons coming at you and you'll be like Jesus, you'll be laughing at their face. Because it was funny, you guys. I know, and I give you an example of one of this uh, demon possessed ones that think they're so powerful, they're so powerful. Bozo, Satika's Bozo. I told you guys that in public comments, I told you about him exploding, but first he sent his female narcissist to do his job, but not in private, you guys. I have a whole bunch of explosions from Saticus. As I was live on that thing, my Facebook text was going bing, 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 bing. And that was Saticus. He wasn't talking here. He was sending it all in private. What a dumb idiot. I have it all. But no, he's not possessed. He's operating. He's divine human being. He's not he's not under draconian law at all. He's not at all. He's screaming at me. Oh my God, that the narcissistic explosion, you guys, it was beautiful. Beautiful. So I got it. I got it. Oh, the hunter lady with her. You guys, when you really dig in, these people, when I say, Diane, Amy, you guys, when I say they're all connected, like George Cavazos, Ceticus, they're all been made at the same freaking farm. That's what's so funny about it. They're all made at the same freaking farm. They just have different things, different illusions to present to you. That's all that they themselves believe in because they're narcissists and they're being possessed and all of that stuff. And they're just continue with their demonic, stuff. And they think that the draconian law is still holds here, but it doesn't anymore. And so they're a little confused. But like I told you, in back last year or 2 years ago, I said to them, to this group, we know who each and every one of them is. There is nothing hidden at this stage of the game. Okay? Nothing is hidden. Okay? So the only thing right now is going to unravel. And so the unmasking of this demonic possession or these demonic entities they're just going to be visible for people. And they'll go, oh, my Lord, that pastor over there, I've been serving demon this whole time. And we had no idea. All these people are being infected. Look at Catholic Church. And when do they do the christening? The christening is basically giving the soul to the invader. Okay? This is what the infection in parents does. It makes them, the demons in parents say, oh, you got to give it to us, your child. Oh, it's for good reasons. You're gonna be a really good mother. You gotta give your soul's child to us, because that child's been, it's been conceived, through this entity of twin flames. So now it belongs to this entity of twin flames. So you gotta give it to us, because now they feel like that life force of the child belongs to them. They won't invade it. It's a predator. And the predator, like it says in the Bible, to the dumb Christians that do this, go to Catholic Church and they go, oh, the Catholic Church doing all the best stuff at the top, but we're good. We just go to church and we give our children, when they're little ones, we just give them to demons so the demons can possess them and control them. We're so good. We're good little Catholics. We're so good. We're so good. Here's our children's soul. Demons, please take them. This is what actually christening is parents giving their soul to demons, giving their children's soul to demons. That's what it is. Okay? That's the ritual. So when that happens, and the child is what? 3 months old, 6 months old, 9 months old. Here's the crime. Here's the crime. Who committed the crime? Parents committed the crime. And the demon that infected the child, he told the parents were adults, and this is the trick. Parents were adults. Parents were supposed to know I was a demon. They knew I was a demon. I knew somewhere deep down inside, they knew something's wrong with them, that there's, somewhere deep down inside, a true human being should know. has the capacity, and God given, and this is why God then rolls out the judgment on these people, because you should know. But this is why I speak so strongly about all of the structures that abuse children on this level and gifting their children's souls to demons and entities. And so, and then there is all this draconian healers out there, like I told you about. One example was what holographic kinetics. That's a draconian law. Healers, that's infectors. That's the one who will protect that draconian law. I know one when I mentioned about holographic kinetics a while back. No, it was about one of her clients. It was one healer Cindy, that befriended me. She was healing Michael Kavanagh, the abuser. Those the healers that does that holographic kinetics. They'll go and pretend that the Draco, the Draco possessed. They will go and they will. It's like demons that possess two people. They'll go and fight it out, because that's the Draco way. That's the draconian law. So, I mean, it's disgusting. Steve Richardson is disgusting, possessed, but I mean, that entity, oh my God, this is why he has that big belly. It truly is. It is a commotion of destructive entities. Okay, it's like a pit of entities there. Because what is happening is draconian law. Everything is based on draconian law. And so then all these healers then go and they play with the draconian infection in their sessions, and they're healing narcissists so they can continue abuse children. So there's those healers out there that say, oh, Lily, but they don't want me to be talking to you because you're protecting children, and I'm protecting the narcissists that abuse the children. So, I can't be really your friend anymore because you figured me out. Of course I figured you out, Cindy. Because when you think you're going to heal narcissists, and then when the victims come for your healing, then you're going to make sure that you heal victims to take the abuse. This is what they're basically submitting the victims, because they, in their draconian law, this is what they do. That's all the responsibility under that possession. And this is, you can look at all of them. They can all be upset at me, but I don't care because I'm beyond that possession. And so each and every one of you guys too, beyond that possession. So I'll come back. And so this is why I so wanted to talk today. And there is so many questions. Oh my gosh. So I will do on Friday more on this, and there's going to be questions and answers. So I'll go through the questions, and so I'll do the questions on Friday, you guys. And so if you have any, please prepare them and put them in the comments, and then I'll do question and answers on these possessions. And if you guys want to, and there is no wrong questions, okay? So don't feel bad. But again, there is going to be people that are operating on that levels that cannot see or step into this beyond possession reality. They're going to still come in and try to create all kinds of, they still going to gaslight and all of that. Narcissists do what narcissists do. They'll never stop. Parasite doesn't stop. Predator doesn't stop thinking about prey. It always looking for prey because it's nature. In its nature, that's what it is. It's in its nature to look for prey. And this is what I said. When an individual possess, no matter what it is, looking for a partner, they don't look for a partner. They look for narcissistic supply. Everything is about supply to possess people, okay? And that's what it's all about. So I really want to explore more with you guys on this beyond possession, on how we truly can stand on this empowered foundation and have the gnosis of true self. And this is when you are beyond any possession. And then, of course, there now starts your true work as a shaman, as a true shaman, because now you got to call out and you got to ring the freedom bell, liberation bell, and you got to ring that. So, and we got to do it together, because this is how we're going to free and liberate collective human consciousness from this enslavement, invasion. And this is how this crime will get revealed. And in time, step by step, all of this will be transmuted, transformed, and we as humanity will stand. All right. So I thank you all so much for joining me today. And I thank you for all the questions. I already saw quite a a few good ones that I can really go into and explore. So I thank you all so much, my dear shamans. I thank you so much for liking this video. So please do like this videos, and please subscribe, and please make sure that notification bell is on, because the YouTube my YouTube AI, I call Susanna. It's Susan. In Russian, it's Susanna. I actually have this. There's a little son, so I sing it to it. I called my YouTube Susanna. There is a Russian song about a very old, beat up, used up prostitute named Susan. So Susan Makovsky from YouTube and her AI, I call her Susanna. Oh, you guys, it's funny. I sing to it. Susanna, 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 твои огни уж так заманчиво горят. Susanna, Susanna, Susanna. About it. Used up prostitute. Yeah. Okay, you guys. So, hey, Susanna, all is good. Thank you guys so much. A little bit of fun, making fun of YouTube. Still love you. Mwah. Love you all. Thank you so much for joining me. Amy, Diane, Sunshine, Ramus, Russ, hi and bye. Anna, bye everybody. I'll see you on Friday. Mwah. Stay wild, everyone. Stay wild.